What's going on, guys? Me Mortimer here, still decorating, so I'm filming in a new location, the only working bathroom in our house. The reason I have chose here? It's 2 AM currently, and the rest of my family are asleep. This is basically the only room I can reasonably film this in without waking them up. And I have absolutely nothing better to do, since I've tried for the past 2 hours to get to sleep. I've not had much luck. So yeah, I'm filming a bus news because I feel like I'm gonna forget by the time I wake up. But yeah, I've got two very brief things to cover. I'd be surprised if this episode tops sort of like 5 minutes. First of all, Ember are launching a new service E4X from Edinburgh to Fort William, which will do one return journey a day, 7 days a week. Fort William bound E4X will leave George Street in Edinburgh at bang on 7 o'clock, and then we'll get into Fort William at 10:31. And then the Edinburgh bound journey will leave Fort William town centre at 12:10, getting into Edinburgh city centre just before 4 o'clock. All in all, the E4X takes 3.5 hours to get from Edinburgh to Fort William, and 3 hours and 45 minutes to get from Fort William to Edinburgh. Stopping pattern-wise, there are significantly less stops than the E4, with the only stops between Edinburgh and Fort William being Callander, Tindrum, Glencoe Mountain, and Glencoe Village. Anywho, next up, there have been some light service changes to a couple routes under McGill's Midland Bluebird, so I'm going to quickly rattle through those changes. So yeah, in total, 3 routes, technically 4, but that's besides the point, have been changed. The first one is the F16, which very minute route revision in West Quarter in the east of Falkirk. Specifically for one journey though, the 135 from Stirling bus station, aka the 236 from Upper Newmarket Street in Falkirk. It's basically had a slight route revision and it will no longer serve West Quarter Primary School. Okay. Additionally, services X10 and X10A between Stirling and Glasgow via either Aberfoyle or Kippen and Balfron have been slightly changed in regards to timetable, basically to enhance reliability and whatnot, because they get quite low layover times at either end, if I recall correctly. Looking at the new timetable, it doesn't look to be heaps better, but I think they have improved punctuality at least a wee bit. However, the main change from this very small set of service changes is the 38 from Stirling to Falkirk, which is getting increased from every 20 minutes Monday to Saturday to every 15 minutes. And it is now going to be using the new Yutong E12 single-deckers that McGill's got for Midland Bluebird with Scott ZEV2 funding. First 6 have already entered service on Service 1 between Dunopus and Maddiston, so now it would seem that from the 15th of September they are now going to be running them on the 38. I believe the E400s that are currently used on the 38 are now just going to be solely delegated to use on school routes. If I'm not mistaken, I think they've got a couple contracts for high schools around West Fife. So, but either way, good to see a frequency increase on the 38. Sure, I would probably prefer an E400 to a Yutong E12, but they're both fairly good buses in my opinion, so I'm not really too fussed. But anyways, I'm going to edit this down now, but I think ideally I'm going to try get to sleep. If I can't get to sleep within half an hour, I will start editing this down, because quite frankly, I've just completely given up on the whole concept of sleeping for the most part. However, now that I've started filming stuff, I feel very tired. So I am sort of hoping now that if I get into bed whilst I'm feeling tired, I won't suddenly feel full of energy the second I start trying to get cozy and get to sleep.
Okay, so it's currently 4 AM and I did not manage to get to sleep, so I just edited this down because of course I did. Yay.
But yeah, no, just go away now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye.